Now introduce my cousin David Dewane, who was one of his grandsons. David.
Grandson? Oh, excuse me. Yeah, that's great.
Godsons.
You get what you pay for. Okay. So wonderful. I know about half of you that are in the family. The other half, look forward to meeting you today. In reflecting, after I heard Jim's passing, I sat down and really thought about, what his life meant to me. And it's not every day that your godfather passes away. And I think I realized that he shaped me probably more than, maybe I appreciated fully at the time. And so I just want to quickly talk about maybe three things about Uncle Jim that I really appreciate. First of all, as a godson, when you're a little Catholic kid in your imagination, what you think that means is that if your parents both die, you get to live with them. It's not at all true, but that's what you're thinking about. In some of my formative years, I'm like, I'm gonna go live in Japan, or I'm gonna go live in Singapore, or something like that, and it's very exciting, And so in my, I know it sounds a little bit far-fetched, but I think that really did affect me. In my even a small child mind, I think he was opening up vistas. That the world is bigger than the small town in Wisconsin that I was living in. And the second thing, which my brother alluded to, is that I would get these incredible gifts in the mail, and that's wonderful for me. But I think the larger lesson is that giving gifts, especially if they're very heartfelt, very unique, very thoughtful, is so impactful. And so I think he taught us, he teaches us all a lot about the power of giving really special, thoughtful gifts. And the final thing is, of course, on the religion side, and I never had one single conversation with Uncle Jim about religion ever. I was my godfather. But my favorite saint from the Catholic heritage is Saint Francis of Assisi, who taught that preach the gospel constantly and use words only when necessary. So you live the values, and so what a great role model. And the two things I would say that he modeled for me on the religious side is how do you treat other people, and then also how do you treat the world. You appreciate what we've been given, and you try to protect it and pass it on to the next generation. Okay, so the next piece is a little bit of a risk. I'm going to ask you guys to try to put yourself into Jim Ehrhart's mind for a second. And one of the things I really appreciate about him is that he was one of the first engineers that I knew, and had a very scientific approach to the world, and very grounded, thoughtful way of thinking about the world. That was the only word that really comes to me is the lens is science. But then he balanced that with this beautiful appreciation of the arts and of culture. And what a wonderful way to live, just to kind of synthesize those two things together and weave those two things together. So that was always very special and impactful on me. Just to think about the world through through those eyes. And so the last thing I would say is on the side of Jim's spirit, and one of the things I do professionally is build teams, hire people, and go out and recruit really high-performing, intelligent people. And I saw an interview with somebody who is very famous out of California for building high-powered teams in Silicon Valley, and he made these two really interesting observations. One is that he doesn't ask you for 3 references. He asks you for 20, and he calls them all. Okay? I was talking to Patty about this yesterday at dinner, and imagine getting 20 references for Jim Ehrhart and calling every single one come back. Something so beautiful will come back, right? And the other thing is that in very intelligent people, if this guy can find a character that can like hold two qualities at the same time, they'll hire him. And those qualities are enthusiasm and humility. And I really think